Welcome back to the Artie Lange Show. Just having some brazoot and provolone, man. That is good stuff from that Italy. Oh. Our guest right now, former star of the Elvis Duran Show, right? And you're starting your own show?
One of the co-hosts, yep, of Elvis' show.
One of the co-hosts. TJ Taormina, what's up, man?
Artie, thank you so much for having me here. You have no idea what a big deal it is for me to be on the show here with you.
Oh, thanks,
I'm such a fan for a long time. You are so wonderful at what you do.
Well, thanks. But people don't know this. I love pointing this out because TJ actually works with my sister. Explain how you work with my sister.
Yes, Stacy. Well, first of all, I lost about 35 pounds 2 years ago, and I always dressed like a slob. And your sister is a brilliant stylist who knows how to dress people. And so we have a mutual friend, and someone said, well, if you want to start dressing like you know what you're doing, talk to Stacy. And so sure enough, we went shopping one time, and then we've just gone shopping ever since.
Now think about that, people. Take a good look at me. Okay, I have a sister who not only, like, you know, doesn't dress like I dress. For a living, she tells she tells certain celebrities how to dress. She's a designer.
But your sister can walk into a room and she looks like a rock star.
No, I know. Yeah, it's unbelievable. And I look like I've just went to a dental convention in Mississippi. Yeah, so now how long have you been doing that with her?
It's been a couple years.
Okay, that's great. She always said, she mentioned that she was working with someone from the radio, you know?
Yeah, she's just the sweetest person ever, and she's got a heart of gold.
Well, that's great. And now, so you were working with Elvis for how long?
I was with Elvis for almost 11 years. I started
amazingly successful show.
Well, Elvis is fantastic.
Yeah.
He's one of the top guys in the country.
I met him a couple times.
Yeah,
good guy. Yeah.
One of the very best at what he does on the radio. And so I started as an intern. I became a producer, and then eventually he made me a co-host a few years ago.
Wow, literally from the bottom up. That's great.
Yeah, and so radio's always been my passion, and I was inspired mostly by Howard's show when I first got into it. And, of course, I listened to that, and I heard you on there.
Yeah.
And so when I became a co-host, I thought I got to be like what Artie did.
Don't do it in every way.
No, but I know. Well, I stayed away from a lot of the bad stuff. But I was just talking to John about how you would tell a story on Howard's show, and you could listen for 45 minutes of you telling a story, and it's always interesting. And I'm not just kissing your ass.
No, I appreciate
so many people know that. And you just have such a way about you. You were the quintessential co-host on that show. So when I thought, how do you be a co-host? Just listen to what Artie did.
Well, that's great. Well, so it worked out for you, and now you're starting your own show.
Yeah, I got this amazing opportunity to take over a show in Boston. And I'm on 103.3 AMP Radio. It's my own show.
The fans up there are awesome, man. I know from doing stand-up up there and being on Howard and going up there for certain radio events. They're unbelievable. Signings and stuff, so you're going to love it.
Yeah, and it's a real radio town, so it's really exciting for me.
Yeah.
And it was something that I never hid from Elvis, my boss. He always knew I wanted to do a radio show, and he was always so supportive.
That's great.
Yeah, so it's a dream come true.
Now, what is the show? Is it music? Is it you just talking, or what is it?
At first, it's mostly music.
Right.
And then you have to earn your right to talk a little more.
Okay.
So it starts off with a little bit of talk, and then hopefully at some point, if people like what you do, they give you more talk time.
Are you sort of intimidated by this in a little bit? Or, I mean, you seem more gung-ho about it.
Yeah, I'm so excited about it because I've just been preparing for it for a lifetime.
Right.
But a part of me is nervous that I'm stepping into a dream situation, and you hope you just don't screw it up.
Yeah.
But,
well, Boston, though, have you spent time in Boston?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah, you're going to love it up there, yeah.
Yeah, from what we've seen so far, it's beautiful.
Yeah. Now, do you do anything else on the side? Do you do stand-up or anything like that? Or?
I did stand-up for a short time at Caroline's on Broadway, just a little bit here and there. But I did a comedy project with, I think you know her, Jessica Curson.
Yeah, I know Jessica.
A brilliant comic. We teamed up and we put out this comedy album. And I have a whole bunch of different things on there, and that was just a fun side project that I did.
What was so you're talking about being in this real successful situation, top 40 radio. What are some highlights from the 11 years you worked there? Like people you met or
yeah, I mean, I've never really cared about meeting celebrities, but one celebrity who came up recently was Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yeah,
and so when he walks into a room, it's like he's walking on a cloud.
He came on the Stern Show while I was there a couple times. He's one of those guys like an A-list celebrity. Where you go, wow, there's the Terminator.
Doesn't it feel surreal when you're in his presence?
Yeah,
you can't even believe it, right?
Yeah. Now he looked at me. Howard said, "Is there anything you could do for Artie, physical fitness wise?" And he looked at me and said, "I think he's a goner," which was a highlight for me.
That's great.
But so was he the biggest star you think that came up there? But musically, you guys have.
Oh, musically, yeah, we had everyone. It was Lady Gaga, Taylor Swift, whoever was hot was up there, and yeah, and everybody. We never had a bad story with anyone. Everyone was always super cool and down to earth.
You're raw. We have a similar. We did something similar for a living. So when those stars would come up, like somebody as big as say like a Lady Gaga, and I had this experience with Howard when a huge A-list star. Like the first one I experienced was Paul McCartney.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah, so I'm sitting there going, I said to myself, I'm just not going to say anything. When you are in that situation, how did you handle that? Would you interject stuff or just wait for her to be out of the studio? Or what was your input when like Lady Gaga was in the studio?
Well, you're talking about on the air or off the air?
On the air.
On the air.
Like when you were a co-host, if someone like her was up there.
I would just hold back, and Elvis would take the reins, and then if there was a point where he wanted someone else to jump in, we would jump in. But Elvis owns a very free-form show. Howard will do an interview, and it's Howard, and then you'll maybe jump in later on.
Yeah, well, Howard and Robin take the, because the thing with Howard and Robin is they became iconic themselves.
Of course, right.
So when they're talking to Paul McCartney, you really just speak when spoken to kind of thing, because people want to hear them talking because they're sort of on the same. Howard's the radio version of the Beatles in a way.
Exactly,
so they want to hear them talk. But.
Yeah, so it's a different dynamic, and Elvis is so generous with his airtime. He wants everyone on the show to join in, and so he was always cool with letting everyone ask questions, and we sort of went around a panel.
Right. Yeah. Well, Howard was like that with most guests, except some of the bigger ones. But I just remember some great shows. Like we had Roger Daltrey on one time, and he told us that he was married since 1969, and he'll appreciate this. Although you were faithful to your wife, but Howard said, "How did that work out? You're who you are." And he said, "Well, Howard, around 1972, I sat my wife down and I said, listen." I'm the lead singer for the Who, so it's gonna be kind of hard. Now, so when do you start up there in Boston?
April 1st. So
April 1st.
Monday. Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Monday morning at 5:30.
Now, it's a 6 to 10 show?
It's a 5:30 to 9 show.
5:30 to 9.
Yep.
Man.
So it's super early.
Well, how do you deal with the hours over the years?
I'm used to it. I've been getting up so long, and I'm so passionate about doing morning radio that I'll get up anytime I have to. If I had to wake up at 2:30 to get there, I would do it, and I'd do it with a smile on my face because you know how fun it is to do this job. It's
God, yeah. Well,
best.
the only part that remotely felt like work to me at the Stern Show was getting up that early.
Well, but you're also in a weird situation where you were doing comedy late at night, and you were talking about two different worlds.
That's what ruined me. I made an idiot choice of overextending myself with stand up.
Yeah, and if you lose sleep, you burn out.
No, it was very difficult to go back and forth. I set myself for a situation where there could not be drugs involved, and that it gets very